Who you are, to a large extent, determines the state of things in your home. Oh, yes. And that's why we push for constant improvement, constant self-development, that people strive to become the best versions of themselves. I shouldn't be the same person I was last year, this year.
Absolutely
Okay.
not.
So we want to also believe that you may have come into the year with some goals, okay, which you were hoping to have achieved probably by the time you set. It is possible that you're thinking right now, hey, it's October. The year is almost coming to an end. I haven't quite achieved all my goals, or I haven't even achieved any goal. You may be in that state. Now, we've come to know that when people are in that state, sometimes they pass on that anxiety to their loved ones. They are the ones who are closest, so they feel the impact of that. You may be uncomfortable, you may be concerned that the year is coming to an end and you haven't quite achieved as much as you want to. So we thought we will do this. I think it's the right time,
Absolutely.
for us to be talking about this. Why you have not achieved that goal yet. Yes, we threw in yet there because it's not over yet. There's still time. Thank you for joining us. I am Chidi Akunna.
And I'm Victor Akunna.
If you're new to our channel, hey, Foundation for Family Affairs, thank you for joining us. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell next to it so you're notified when we drop our content. At Foundation for Family Affairs, we talk everything romance, intimacy, and family. And yes, our mission is to connect hearts and raise healthy families. And that's why we're talking about what we're talking about today, because healthy you, healthy family. Okay? So thank you for joining us. And we would say thank you to all our returning subscribers. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
So what would you say to someone in this state who is thinking, I haven't quite achieved my goals? What would you be saying to that person?
To be honest, what I'm going to be authentically saying to them is to pause and to be grateful for how far they've come. And I will explain why I think that's the first thing. Because many years ago, when it's coming to the end of the year, I used to be very anxious. And my focus was often on what I've not been able to accomplish. And then it blinded my eye from every other thing that God has done, every other thing I've been able to accomplish up to that point. And when you are coming at something, a goal is supposed to be a positive thing, but you're coming at it from a point of despair, point of desperation, a point of negative energy. Things sometimes spiral out of control because you begin to repel even the people that could have been of help towards achieving your goal. So the first thing I would say is to sit down, make a list of things that have worked for you. All right, my health is still intact. I still have my family with me. No matter how basic they are, I'm telling you that's the first place to start from, because once you shift your energy to being grateful, now your energy begin to become positive. You now begin to focus on what you can do. So the other thing I would like to say is that what exactly are those goals? Because there are different reasons. One of the reasons why you may not have achieved your goal because you were not as specific as you could be. The way the mind works is that the mind of the human being has to be very clear and very specific on what you want it to achieve. This is the way it works. Once you set a specific goal, by specific I mean as detailed as even the color. So let's say, for example, you want to buy a car, you want to buy a house. You have to be as specific as possible. How many rooms, what part of town, what will be the color? You have to be as specific because the brain doesn't deal in vagueness. The way, if any picture that you take, that you snap, that is not very clear, what you do, you delete them. Because the brain doesn't, that's what we do. We delete them from, maybe while you were lifting up your hand and someone took the picture, or or when you were turning your face and someone took the picture. We don't keep such pictures. Because the mind wants...
you didn't get the angle.
You didn't get the angle.
The right angle. Someone
Correct.
taught me that.
Yes.
Hey, let's talk about this.
So you might want to be very specific. I'll give you an example. There is someone very, very close to me that just got a property recently. And he said he came to himself. He said to himself, I've been working for a while. What do I have to show for it? And he said, this year I'm going to own my own property and this is what I want. Guess what? Hey. A situation came up And his landlord was saying, oh, everybody needs to leave this house, blah, blah, blah. And he said, I'm interested in buying this property. At the point, he didn't have the money, but because he had that goal at the beginning of the year, something that was, situation that looked contrary came on board. There was supposed to be an eviction. Now, later, turned him around because he had a goal. If he didn't have that goal, you probably interpret it from a negative point of view that this is another problem. This is going to be an eviction. But he saw it as an opportunity. And that is the power of being specific. Today is the landlord of that property.
So it's not too late to be specific.
It's not too late.
Even if you started out in the year without being specific about what you would want to achieve, it's not too late.
Correct. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes people don't believe that they deserve it. I mean, this sounds so queer. It sounds so far-fetched. But sometimes there are goals that I am chasing. I am making all the efforts. Anybody that looks at me from the outside, from outside looking at me in, will think, oh, he's making the effort. But in my subconscious, I do not truly believe that I deserve that goal, that it will happen for me. I believe it can happen for somebody else, but I don't believe it will happen for me. And I found myself in this situation many times that what I've learned to do is that before I pursue, I do the physical part. A goal is the mental and the physical part. Before I do the physical part, which everybody says, I sit down and do the internal work first. That internal work is the hardest work ever. Convincing yourself, working through your frame of references, debunking things that say you are not worthy of this goal, you are not worthy of this face, you are not worthy of this reality. Doing that internal work is the hardest work ever. Because sometimes you just find yourself that you are constantly in hope. Oh, I'm hoping it will happen for me, but you don't believe that it can happen for you. And so so what I've learned to do is to catch myself to say, if I'm to believe that this is possible for me, what will I be doing differently? And that question often checks me. And you just realize that you are just going through the motion, hoping that you're trying to get faith from outside. You're trying to get something from outside to trigger that belief within. No. It works from inside out. We live from inside out. We don't live from outside in. So you have to sit down and do that internal work. What is the first thing? Be specific. This is what I want. The next thing is you have to do that internal work to the point.
Talking about the internal work, because sometimes it might be that there are limiting beliefs there.
Absolutely. Those are the internal work I'm talking about.
Yes. So something in you, and limiting beliefs could be crutches. You just want to hold on to them. It might be something you've sold yourself. Well, it might have been that's actually the state, that's actually what's happening there. I want to give a practical example.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're probably you want to go for a new position in your place of work. And it might just be that, yes, there have been incidents of racist events and what have you. Okay, but you can't just take that on and believe that, someone of my color, I hate to use that word, but I have to use it. Someone of my color may not be may not be admitted into that position. Sometimes we take that on, we don't realize we've imbibed it mentally, and it starts keeping you down. You're saying to yourself, I want this position, but then you don't realize that what you're also saying to yourself is that people like me cannot make that position. So that's a limiting belief.
So in a situation like that, people find themselves that they have these internal conflicts. A part of them wants the thing, a part of them don't believe that they want it. So they take one step forward and they take two steps backward. And so you see some people carrying out some self-sabotaging behavior because they are so scared of, what about if I apply myself and it doesn't happen? I will not be able to manage the emotional pain. So because of it, they are always in this state of limbo, always working towards the goal, but never really applying them full being to it, because they don't want that feeling of disappointment. The goal, your focus should not be, oh, I cannot manage. If it happens, you should develop the muscle to handle. I have been disappointed many times.
And it's a feedback.
It's a feedback. I go back to the people and say, what could I have done differently? And I go back again to apply because I think, you know what? This is mine. Nobody can take it away from me. All right. But before, another thing that stops people from going after that goal is a sense of entitlement. They think, oh, I've been working hard. This should be given to me. No.
You've got to earn it.
You've got to fight for it.
Yes. So even if you think that I deserve this, and you didn't get it the first time, you can't be that entitled and say, oh, they should have given it to me. So that's where we need to apply some humility, catch yourself in that moment and go back to ask, what could I have done differently?
Absolutely.
And see that you're imbibing the lessons from it. It may not make sense at the time because you're hurt that you didn't get it, even though you deserved it.
Wow.
But give yourself some time. Okay, take on the lessons. It may not be, you may not think, I think I'm better than this. You may be thinking, okay, but then still apply yourselves, apply the lessons and try again. You don't quit and then stay back and you're sulking that I never made it. But the thing is, you didn't try again. So how would you know that you could have achieved that?
You know what came to my mind while you were talking about when you were using the word deserving? The word deserving is relative. What you think you deserve, some other people may not think you deserve it. Some other people may think, oh, you're not there yet, while you are thinking you are there. You know, there is a way life works that when you're at a certain level, you don't see all the things you need to do well, unless someone that's above you that can see that this person, like a coach, will see a player that this guy is not maximizing his potential. He's doing this. If I put this guy here, but in the eye of that player, no, this is my position. This is what I have to do. That's why the best coach sometimes are the people that have unorthodox way of working with players. They be like, you know what? If you are not doing this, you're going to be bench you. Later on, that coach will now be the best friend of that person. Be like, man, nobody has ever told me or face to face. But in that time, you were thinking that you are the best thing that ever happened. No,
so
you're
the
not.
person was probably calling you to stretch.
Yes,
which would lead
absolutely.
us to another point about, who are you? Have you become? Have you become the person, the kind of person who can achieve that goal?
Yes.
There's the process of stretching.
Absolutely.
To be that person.
Absolutely.
For that goal.
Any goal that you are chasing, anything you want to do, you want to be a mom, that you have to become a different person to be able to manage that role. Getting the goal is one thing. Managing that goal is a completely different thing. You have to become, you want to be a husband, you want to be a father, you have to become the kind of person that can be a father. It's a different mindset. It's a different paradigm. And how do you get this paradigm? Sometimes you have to interview people. Some opportunities I was going for. What did I do? I was interviewing different people. What does it take to do this? What does it take to do this? What does it take? People were telling me things that, man, I could not have understood. I could not have ever, I won't be able to understand unless I sit in that seat. So no matter where you are, there is a paradigm, there is a perspective you don't have. And that's why you are not in that seat. It's sometimes some people look at leaders, so they should have done this, they should have done that, until they take over that position. Be like, wow, I didn't know this. You will never understand some things until you are in there. You will never understand some things from outside. That you can't look at my life and say, Victor should have done X, Y, Z. You've not lived my experience. You don't know where I'm coming from. You don't know. The best you can do is to give me an advice, but you cannot give me the exact thing I could have done. Because there are many ways.
And sometimes we need to expose ourselves to the kind of goals we are aiming for.
Yes.
Okay. If yours is, okay, I want to buy, let's say, a property, you need to expose yourself to it. You need to start viewing things, viewing properties.
Yes.
Online. Okay, that makes you become the kind of person, because you'll be querying yourself.
Yes.
All right. If it's a position you're going for, there are courses you need to take. Okay, for people like that, you want to go sit where people like that sit, and take on that. I'm saying it to myself because I need to do more.
I'll give you one look like that. So the good thing about these things is that everything is in your hand. Whether how far you rise in life is up to you, really. Honestly, it's up to you. It's a very harsh word to say to someone who has tried many times. But sometimes I've found myself in a situation where I was trying, but subconsciously I did not really believe that I could get this done. until I sat down after a series of failures. I was like, did I really believe this? And I told my wife, I said, I never really believed this. When I came to that realization, because she knows anything I'm going through, I'll tell her. When I came to the realization that I did not really believe this, that's when I started making the internal adjustment. Next time I tried it, pow. So I will have been blaming every other person but myself. I am the central. Everything depends on me. Yeah. Sometimes we're avoiding the discipline that the goal requires. You said you want to lose weight. You are weighing 95 kg. You want to drop to 65 kg. But there is a change in lifestyle. There is a discipline. There is a routine you have to abide by. You start the routine, you stop. You start the routine, you stop. There is a discipline. The discipline requires a certain mindset. You've not made that mental shift. Athletes don't do anything they like. They don't live the life that they want.
That's true.
No. For you to be an athlete, you have to die to your wants. Your goals dictate your behavior. Your goals dictate your behavior.
I like that.
It's not you that dictates your behavior. It's the goal. Anybody you've seen as a gold medalist, ask any of them. It's not what they want to do. There are days they don't want to get up from bed. They have to get up because their goal determines that your goal is not emotional. It's emotionless. It doesn't have emotion. Oh, I like you. It doesn't have preferential treatment. If this is what you have chosen to do, it's a slave master. Goals are slave masters. You must follow. Come rain, come shine. You must practice. If you're not willing to give it that dedication, your goal is not. It doesn't have emotion. It doesn't like. It has no respect for your title. It has no respect for your race. It has no respect for your gender. If this is what you want, this is the price you have to pay. You have to be willing to do that.
Awesome.
That's it.
Awesome. Okay, and then I have a question I want to pop.
Yes.
Do you even have a goal?
Ooh.
Do you have a goal? If you have a goal, there are certain things you put in place. The SMART goals. You have to be specific. Your goal has to be specific. It has to be measurable. It has to be achievable. It has to be realistic. And then it has to be time bound. So you have to set a time to it.
Yes.
If you want to achieve it before the end of the year, it's still possible. But you've got to do the things that would make that happen.
The final thing that I would say is that you have to be in the right network. I'm telling you, your network, the people that speak into your life, you have to talk to people who are doing 10 times what you're doing. That will normalize what you are trying to do. Because your brain kicks against anything that is new. Your brain is a routine machine. If it's not what it's used to, it will reject it by response. Why? Because it's trying to protect you. And so the unfortunate thing is that also repels new ideas.
Yes.
Repels new news. That's why you have to stretch. Anytime you're doing something new, your brain will keep fighting it until it becomes normal. You're learning to drive, for example, your brain will keep, until you get to that point where your brain accommodates it as one of its new realities. Then it becomes normal. It becomes a habit. It becomes habitual. So anything new that you're trying to strive, you need to be in the midst of people it's a habit, it's a lifestyle. There are conversations you have with some people. I've had some conversation that changed my philosophy, my viewpoint. I think it was Oliver Wendell Holmes that says that a mind will not return to its original form when it had been stretched. There are people you speak to that stretch you. You will not return to your original. Your mind will not return, and your mind is number one life-changing machine in your life.
Okay, if you have other points you think we could have talked about, please leave them in the comments section if you care. If you yet to subscribe to our channel, we would invite you to do that again.
Let's share this. Let's do the work together, guys. Thank you. And don't give up on that goal. It's not over yet.
It's not over yet.
Absolutely not.
Yet. Let's keep pushing. All right, we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.